What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talk of the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Euroset Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. As always, I am your host, Numac, coming back to you with another episode of Packers analysis and previews of their next game this week against the Dallas Cowboys. Um, Been to talk about a renewed rivalry against Micah Parsons' former team going into Jerry World post trade, and everyone, all the Packers fans that travel to Dallas can thank him in person. That'll be fun. Talk about all that and more. This is my lovely co-host Jordan Trusky. Jordan, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Looking forward to. I don't know about you, but I've been waiting all day for Sunday night.
All right, Carrie. I don't even
Who-
think. I don't even think. No, it's not even. She's not even the singer anymore. I think it's Chris Stapleton, isn't that?
You're thinking of Monday Night Football
Gotcha. Then maybe it is
with
still
that
Carrie.
with that Frankenstein awful in the air tonight.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. That's what it is. That
awful,
that is what it
awful.
is.
The second worst decision that Disney has made.
Moving on. Moving on to something even worse to talk about, and that is the Packers' uh, paltry showing against the Cleveland Browns this past Sunday. We have to hand out some cheeses, as few as they may be. Um, Legitimate candidates are Rashawn Gary with 2 sacks, 3 tackles, and 4 pressures, and Xavier McKinney with an interception, 2 tackles, and 1 catch allowed for 17 yards. Um, Jordan and I talked pre-pod. I think it's just Rashawn Gary getting a cheese. Like, the interception is nice, but it didn't really amount to anything. Like in all likelihood he should have batted it down so they had more time to possibly get points at the end of the half there, which is like pretty nuanced. But other than that, like he's had more impactful interceptions. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, to your point. Totally forgot that you had a pick.
Yeah,
Totally forgot you had a pick.
yeah. It was the end of the half, and it was fourth down. And if he just swats it down versus intercepting it, they had the ball like midfield with like 10 seconds or so to go, or maybe a little bit less than
Would have been
that. But
nice.
they had a
Would
chance,
have been
right?
nice.
Versus being down at their own 25 or so and just kneeling out the half. So
Yeah.
just for Sean Gary getting a cheese this week, a positive cheese. Uh in the negative realm, we have a couple Lindbergers to hand out. Jordan and I talked pre-pod, and rather than picking on Jordan Morgan by himself, who had a pretty horrendous game, we've decided instead to give the majority of the line uh, some Lindberger cheeses, like some stinky, smelly sock Lindberger cheeses this week, which drops them down one on the season. Uh, Players getting a Lindberger: Rasheed Walker, Jordan Morgan, Sean Ryan, and Elton Jenkins. All of them had 3 pressures allowed. Each of them allowed a sack, with the lone exception of Elton Jenkins, who allowed 2. Um, and all had pretty abysmal grades on PFF, including a 15 from Rasheed Walker. Uh, it wasn't good. Like Aaron Banks
It's
escaped.
a golf though, right? You want a lower number.
No, no, it is
Oh,
not. Uh, Aaron Banks escapes a Lindberger considering he only played 17 snaps, but he also allowed a sack. So honestly, he had the lowest score and it was 12. Like, it's not good.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. Anthony Belton escapes as well. He only played 14 snaps and didn't allow a sack. So nice job, Anthony Belton. You and your 39.2 pass blocking grade. So, uh, do you want to include Banks in this, Jordan? He only played 17 snaps, but he was pretty bad in those 17.
He is pretty bad. I mean, we know that he's hurt, but
Yeah,
everybody wears it.
yeah, yep. I'm fine with that. So, uh, 4 of the starting 5 linemen receive a cheese, and the fifth one was injured on the first play. That's why all 5 didn't get them.
Yeah.
So, also playing into this is Rasheed Walker, or not Rasheed Walker. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Rasheed Walker getting
No, you're correct.
2 penalties and Jordan Morgan getting 3. Not great, not great, Bob. So
No.
shout out Rashawn Gary doing the good things this week. And here's to hoping that the line can pick it up again, like they did last year, and just be better. That's all. That's all we ask. So that's it for cheeses. We don't want to talk about that game anymore, so we're moving right on forward. um, Packers news from this week: they released wide receiver McCole Hardman from their practice squad, elevating offensive lineman Brant Banks and signing wide receiver Jacoby Keeney James to their practice squad. Uh, Continuing the Rich Bisaccia conversation, I just don't see the reasoning. Like, I don't know if they elevated McCole Hardman the last 3 weeks and they didn't want to sign him to a
No, they
contract,
did not.
so they still could have elevated him to return punts every week. But like, the solution here isn't that the punt returns have been fixed. Like, they've been okay at best. So I really don't get like, and not to be flip floppity on McCole Hardman, he wasn't the best. We had opinions on him that we necessarily wanted him back there in the first place. But I think we definitely don't want Keyshawn back there. We definitely don't want Matthew Golden back there because they're more important to their playing positions than returning punts. And
And you
so,
don't have Jaden Reed right
and
now.
you don't have Jaden Reed right now. And so, like, why not just throw him back there as like a break in case of emergency guy, and hopefully he can not be as bad as Amari Rogers was. But instead, and it's really like a zero sum game. They don't really lose anything by cutting him. Like, it's whatever. But have you heard of Jacoby Keeney James? Because I have not.
No. I just don't. How hard is it to find a return specialist?
Apparently, pretty.
Like, what is the effort being made? They have an open roster spot. They elevated Brent Banks, as you mentioned. They still have another roster spot. They don't really have who else is on their practice squad that would kind of fulfill that role. I don't think they have. I thought. I mean, again, not that they need like a McCole Hardman type just to be like, okay, here we go. But it is just like they don't have any rhythm, and the one guy that they have or had did it so well that he. It turns out Keyshawn Nixon is just a really good worker.
Yeah, yeah, he
Imagine
is.
that,
Imagine.
like, and that more power to him to do that. But it is just like the this turning wheel of like a very important position because all you need from it is to possess the ball. Like that is ultimately football. You don't necessarily need him to do much. You just need him to catch the ball, maybe do a fair catch. Matthew Golden, like I don't want them to kill him. I don't want it to be. I don't want
No,
to be Judd Apatow
no.
and being like they could have killed him.
They
You
killed Gil
know,
Hodges.
but it is just like,
What in the world am I looking at?
what are you looking at?
So, Jacoby Keeney James played five. Let me double check my stats here. Played. Why can't I find? Um, yeah, played 5 seasons at Eastern Washington.
Okay, East Wash.
Yep. He had a fine career there. 825 total yards in 37 games played as a receiver. He returned a kick 5 times in those 5 years.
See, I did not look at that as like we're
He's not gonna.
replacing,
You'd think they would. They kind of need a guy,
but that's
but
just
then
that goes back to my original
I
point
think it goes
of
back to your original
what it
point that they're gonna they killed Gil Hodges.
are they
Jordan.
even looking? Are they looking for another returner?
Apparently not, because he spent
It is
2024.
just like this blind spot of the this is what it is. So they have paid Brandon McMaster. Currently, he's the highest paid kicker in the NFL. Correct? or
I
third highest.
something like that.
Sorry, I'm mixing it up. Matt Orzek. They paid him. He's the third highest paid long
I'm
snapper.
looking at McManus right
Brandon
now.
McManus, if he's not the highest paid, he's the third highest. Whatever. They have their battery, if you want to call it that.
I'm looking. Uh, he is not. He is 11th.
Who? McManus?
Yes. Oh
Okay.
my God, there are some high. Harrison Butker's making $25 million, not annually, just like total. Anyways,
Um,
the battery and
the battery. It's just like I don't understand this continual blind spot of just special teams of like, yeah, essentially at this point it is just like Rich will figure it out.
it really is like Rich will figure it out, and I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Like they're gonna get Matthew Golden smoked, and with the receiver depth that they have right now, they can't afford that. And I just don't know. Like I'm pretty sure Savion Williams returned punts at TCU, right? So
Yes.
like I don't know why he's not doing that kick and punt returns. Let's see. He
Um,
No, he didn't. He did it in 2020, but he
mm,
did not do it in 21, 22, 23, or 24.
Matt LaFleur said of the blocked field goal from the Cleveland game that we won't spend too much time talking about longer. This is courtesy of Rob Domofsky. He said, on the blocked field goal, Matt LaFleur said, we got lifted, played with poor pad level, and didn't take the correct steps and didn't perform the right technique. That sounds like I don't know. I don't know how they could. Who's teaching them this technique? You know,
Who
how
who?
how is this being taught? Uh, you know,
Yeah,
it is just it is just so infuriating
it
that we
is.
had to.
It is. And like this is way more the time than McCole Hardman's roster spot on the practice squad deserves, but I think it's indicative of a larger approach to special teams, right? Like
Yeah,
special teams has always been this team's Achilles heel throughout our lifetimes. Like it's always been pretty meh coverage wise. They've always had decent kickers besides those 2 years where it really mattered that they didn't. But punter has been mostly good. Mason Crosby obviously and now McManus were good. But like it's the coverage stuff and like the returns that are just like what are we doing? Until Keyshawn came along and was very very good for a few seasons until he became more important as a corner.
yeah.
And so like that's a good problem to have. Like you found a cornerback one from a kick returner and a punt returner, but instead now you need to find someone to kick and return kicks and punts, which is now very crucial in today's NFL in a league where touchbacks aren't really a thing anymore. And with how good your defense is, you got to have a good punt returner because you're getting a lot of 3-and-outs. And so, yeah, it's just frustrating that it's this much of a story 3 weeks into the season.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so, um, Matt LaFleur had a quote this week, kind of regarding Rasheed Walker and his bravado. It pisses me off when we start talking about things outside of the next game, things that are way down the road. Worry about getting better each and every day. A lot of coach talk there, but I think that kind of sums up uh, just the feeling around Sunday's game in general.
Yeah,
So
it it was baffling. It continues to baffle
yeah,
until we're having a raffle of baffles.
oh boy, pump the brakes. Alrighty, should we talk Cowboys? Get into this week's matchup.
You want to talk Daltown,
D Town,
D Town?
D Town. Um, Obviously a very long history of between these two teams. It is their 31st meeting between the Packers and the Cowboys. The Packers have a 17-13 record against the Cowboys, and an additional nine meetings have occurred between the Packers and Cowboys in the playoffs, with Green Bay having a 5-4 edge, um, in obviously in history. The last one coming when the Packers beat the Cowboys 48-32 in the 2023 playoffs. Right? Three? Yeah, three.
3 season, 24. I
Yeah,
don't, it's so
23
dumb.
season.
It's dumb.
23 season.
This is why baseball hasn't figured out.
Has,
You just say
well,
2025 season.
because their entire season takes place
Well,
yeah.
they
Any
looked at the Gregorian
that
calendar.
that's right. The Packers have won the last 5 meetings against Dallas. Like I said, with the last one coming in that playoff game. Um, Injury report is long as usual because
Yeah.
why wouldn't it be? Because
Why can't I?
go ahead.
Singing some Liz Fair.
Got it. This is the Wednesday injury report because we record this on Wednesday. Obviously, this is subject to change later in the week. Starting with the Packers, lineman Aaron Banks has a groin injury. He was a DNP. Anthony Belton has an ankle injury. He was limited in practice. Carl Brooks has a foot injury. He was limited in practice. Javon Bullard did not participate in practice with a concussion. John Fitzpatrick has a groin injury. He was limited. Nate Hobbs' knee injury. He was a full participant. Josh Jacobs is nursing an ankle injury. He was limited. Tucker Kraft has a knee and a new elbow injury. He was limited. Micah Parsons has a back with his back was limited. Um, Zach Tom didn't practice and is not expected to play, according to Adam Schefter, with his oblique injury. Rasheed Walker has a quad injury, and Devontae Wyatt has a knee injury. Those two were both limited in practice. For the Cowboys, cornerback Deron Bland has a foot injury. He was limited. Tyler Booker, I believe their first round pick last year, um, tackle for them, has an ankle injury. He was a DMP. Golly, I'm sorry to this man. Trequezier Briggs, a corner for them, has a knee injury. He was a limited participant. Uh, did I say Trevon Diggs? No, I
Yes.
did say Trevon
Yeah.
Diggs.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you did.
well, Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs both have injuries. Trevon Diggs was a DMP, and CeeDee Lamb has an ankle injury. He was a DMP as well. CeeDee Lamb is expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks with that injury. Um, from Adam Schefter this afternoon, I believe. Yep. Rather this morning, Packers right tackle Zach Tom is not expected to play Sunday night versus the Cowboys due to the oblique injury he suffered in the loss at Cleveland, per source. Green Bay has a bye next week to reassess how Tom is feeling and whether he can return week 6 versus the Bengals. Just not malpractice because I don't want to lob that, but not a good practice to do to push your right tackle, star right tackle to play and then have him miss possibly more than 2 games. But what do we know?
So Matt LaFleur was asked about this on Monday,
Again,
and he said that he did not. This is coach speak, so we have to parse this out. He said, I wouldn't say he further re-aggravated it. I think it was more or less it's hard. It's always hard to simulate what you're going to face in a game. You'd have to ask him, but I think that the force of the guy that he's going against, it hurt him. He didn't feel like he could go. So he's cautioning that it was not re
if it wasn't re-aggravated, he'd be able to play this week.
exactly. It was bad enough for him to leave the game,
Yeah.
and it speaks more to the decision of why are you
Why
playing
are you
him
playing
if
him in the
he's
first place?
clearly not. He's less than 100%. He's less than what 50%.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. We went through this last on our last episode, so we won't go through it all again, but he'll be missed for sure. Hopefully Anthony Belton can continue playing as well as he's been playing and uh, hold up this week against Dallas. Also,
Honest question too.
I would you want to do a unfaithful question, a dishonest question, not unfaithful?
Jesus, saucy.
Jordan, are you stepping out on me?
No, no.
That wasn't
My
convincing.
um, tell it to Richard Gere. He was in the movie Unfaithful.
Oh, okay.
God. Anyway, I know this. I feel like this podcast has slowly devolved into O line talk because
Yeah.
we're becoming that O line podcast. I have an honest question, and this is really dumb of me, but it speaks to how dumb it is to play Zach Tom and for him to leave after one snap.
Yep.
Do you think if the Packers had played anybody else other than the Browns and their defensive line that is clearly all world beaters, do you think they would have like they're playing the Cowboys this week? A defense that is pretty dreadful. Their defensive line is not that great because they traded the best player on their team
Sure did.
to the Packers. I know Jadavian Clowney is going to play in this game most likely,
Yep.
but like if I mean if weeks were switched, would they have been compelled to play Zach Tom because they were so worried about their pass protection with Miles Garrett and company?
I don't know. Maybe. Like you'd hope that's not the
It's a
decision.
non-zero chance that was in their thinking that
Sure. But
on top of
you'd hope
yeah.
that's not the case. Like you'd hope that they aren't making decisions like that where against a different opponent they would have sat him because he's not fully healthy. It shouldn't matter the opponent, right? Like that's
Well,
just
it shouldn't matter what the opponent, but it is just it speaks to like Christian Watson even said it where if this is a you always hear like if this is a playoff game, if this is an NFC Championship game, if this is the Super Bowl, these guys would go push their body further than what they're probably comfortable in doing.
yeah,
And because it's with glory on the line and yada yada yada, you never know if you're gonna get this chance to do it whatsoever.
right.
That's why again, it's a non-zero chance. It's a stupid thing to think of. It's there are worse things that probably come to mind with like why they made that decision in the first place. But it does just like the further we get removed from that awful, terrible loss, it is just like it makes the Tom decision even more just like there aren't even examples of it in Packers history that I could think of that is like comparable.
No.
Truly,
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
no, it's not.
Um so going into this week, we'll talk about this defense. Like we'll stay with that theme. The Dallas defense.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good. They looked okay week 1 against Philly. Like it was fine.
Yeah, I
I'll
forgot they were
I'll say.
opening night.
Yeah. They lost 24-20 in like what was not a super out of reach game. Like they were in
I
it.
don't know. Sorry, you finish your point.
They were in it. CeeDee Lamb had a couple of really bad drops. I think that is this week, or that might have been against the Giants.
It was that week.
It was against the Eagles.
Yep.
Um, and so he had a couple of pretty bad drops that swing that game differently. But in the weeks since, it's been pretty bad. They gave up 37 points and won in overtime against the Giants. They let Russell Wilson throw for 3 touchdowns and 450 yards, which is insane. They had two different receivers go over 100 yards, including Malik Neighbors with 167 and Wanda Robinson with 142. And they followed that up against Caleb Williams, who threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, with Luther Burden III having a 65-yard touchdown en route to having 101 yards on the day. That is all that to say. The passing attack from the Packers and the Jordan Love this week needs to be like the focus. It just needs to be what they like what they target in their offense this week because their their cornerback room is decimated is how I'll say that. Their rookie Siobhan Revel Jr., who we were high on in the draft process, he is out. Um, Deron Bland questionable. Trevon Diggs questionable. Uh, Triquezier Briggs. Bridges. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm sure I did. He's questionable. Like they have healthy safeties, but they're starting Kaiir Elam uh, on the outside.
Bills cast off.
a Bills cast off from a team that is in desperate need of corners. Like
Yes.
he got torched pretty heavily in these last couple weeks. So like how the Packers approach this game should just be to air it out. I know they're gonna try and run it because that's what they have to do. But like Kenny Clark, good old friend of the pod, old friend Kenny Clark, uh, is obviously here. Dante Fowler Jr. is here. Like they have a decent front four. Um, I think they'll like the whatchamacallit, the Giants run game isn't anything to be up like surprised about. They only got held to 84 yards. But then 33 for DeAndre Swift and Kyle Maganai with 16 yards. I'm sure I pronounced his name wrong as well. But this is like the two games, these last two games, like you go back to the Saquon game, and obviously Saquon had, well, actually Saquon didn't even have that big of a game. He had 60 yards and a touchdown, which is like mundane by Saquon standards. Um, this team is just can't stop the pass, and so Jordan Love, you want to get back on track after that pretty bad week against the Browns. This is the week to do it. This is a get right week for this offense to where they should be able to put up some big numbers.
Yes, to say the least. I mean, you're mentioning the Giants game. Um, if you haven't heard, the Giants have benched Russell Wilson for rookie
Yeah,
quarterback Jackson Dart. That might be the biggest indictment of the Cowboys defense is that they go 1 week of allowing. And honestly, I was gonna doing our kind of notes and preparing for the game. I had thought that I watched that game and I still was going into this recording saying that the Cowboys are winless, and I had totally forgotten that they won that game, obviously in overtime. But
before you go on, do you know how many total points the Giants have scored outside of the Dallas game?
they scored 9 against Kansas City. I'm forgetting how much I think it's 16, right?
15.
15.
Nine
Oh,
against the Commanders, 6 against Kansas City.
that's okay. I flipped it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
15 points in two other weeks against other good teams, and then 37 against Dallas. Like this defense is not good right now.
92 points through 3 weeks is terrible. That's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not
That's that's
allowing
not great.
allowing 37, 31 and 24 is not good.
No,
What were you going
no,
to say? I apologize for interrupting.
no. I was just saying like how thinking that the Cowboys are winless and then realizing, oh yeah, they had actually won that Giants game. It is just like their defense is. We already were remarking about this during the summer. If we were like talking about like who are the biggest threats to the Packers, and the Cowboys are always kind of in that like, can they punch above their weight? Can they elevate? And it's obviously post Parsons trade is not happening, which leads me to believe something that I truly do think, and I don't think this is going to work out for them. But I'm probably giving Jerry Jones a little bit more grace than he deserves. I think he looked at this team, saw them in training camp.
This is a lot of grace.
This is a lot of grace. He still screwed up the whole entire situation. But he probably looked at this team and was like, this team is crap.
I am going to push back on that because if he thought it was crap, I I guess maybe not because if we didn't want to pay Micah the big contract for this team to be bad a good chunk of how long he was going to be there, then maybe that's what they do, right? Maybe
You
that's why,
can't blow up a football team like a basketball or baseball team.
right? And maybe that's why he's riding the boat with Brian Schottenheimer.
It
And maybe that's like maybe he's upset that he gave the contract to Dak and gave the contract to CD. You know, like they're kind of stuck with all this money and they're not very good. I can see that. I
Again,
see. I can see your point. I see the vision. That would require an amount of forethought and like good team building from Jerry Jones that I do not think he's capable of.
no. No, everything just screams as much as, the Netflix documentary would suggest you to believe that he is that. Everything about their motives and moves over the last basically since the Packers stomped on them in the playoffs
Right.
scream like this team that is suddenly there. It's very short-sighted, small market stuff that it doesn't resemble the where the how about them Cowboys kind of mentality.
How about them
How
Cowboys?
about them Cowboys? Anyway, so yeah, their defense is just atrocious. I think Deron Bland will help some, but I just like when you're mentioning the names like Kenny Clark. I mean, he was a former Packer, but Dante Fowler Jr., Jadeveon Clowney, who's in their linebacker core. Like, it is just very like, oh, it's a lot of retread.
A lot of
Am I
retread.
right?
Oh, you're 100% right. Like it's kind of old. It's it's
It's
they
kind
have
of a lot.
talent. Like Deron Blanche and Travion Diggs are good. Jack Sanborn is good. At least I think he is.
But that's a guy that's been
No,
around the block.
sure, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down,
Thank you, thank you.
but
Um,
yeah, we're gonna say something.
no, I was just gonna say like, even like Javante Williams. I know he's actually been
He's
pretty
been
good to
really good.
start.
We'll talk about Javante Williams in our next part.
Yeah, yeah, even like the secondary, like you mentioned, Elam, Lee Hooker. I think he was previously on the Colts.
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of just Kenneth Murray. I forgot that they made the trade for him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, like the defense isn't good, and that's why
James
like
Houston's on this team.
yeah, yeah, it's not good.
Wait, that's not that James Houston.
Is it not?
It is not. It's the fourth.
Got it.
That,
Oh,
but he
um,
was on. When who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. But yeah,
Anyways,
this defense is going to be hopefully exploited.
and that's like the idea, right? This is what we wanted like not to happen last week because obviously Cleveland's defense was more way obviously way better than Dallas's. But the point being is that this team isn't good, right? They
Yeah,
should be able to whoop up on this team, not in a similar fashion to what we expected from the Browns game, but this should look a lot like the Saints game last year, Jordan. Like
I I would
they
think so.
we'll get to the offense in a minute, but like they just don't have the talent on the defensive side of the ball to stop this Packers offense when it's clicking. And obviously
Mhm.
they're not totally healthy, right? Josh Jacobs is nursing an injury. Uh Tucker Kraft is nursing an injury. Like they're banged up, but there's talent on this offense, and they have the plays to scheme just to get just to drive down the field. Like we'll talk about players to watch at the end, obviously, but like this is the Matthew Golden week. Like you're not going to have another. I'm sure you will against lesser teams. The Bengals defense isn't that good either, but you're not going to have many opportunities to go against defenses giving up like 400-yard passing performances very often. And so I want to see Matthew Golden. I'll tell you right now later, but he's my player to watch. I want to see him have a good week this week. Like I want to see him blow past Kyrie Elam. I want to see him blow past any corner he's on. I want Jordan Love to just to keep chucking the ball downfield because he can get behind every single one of these corners and the secondary, and it's just necessary at this point for him to break out and really provide a spark for this team because we saw it on Sunday. He has the speed with that great catch he made towards the sideline. If he stays in bounds, we're not talking so bad about how, but they probably win if he scores that
Mhm.
touchdown, almost
Yeah.
assuredly. but obviously he didn't stay in bounds. But he has that speed and he has that talent. It's like let's feed him the ball. I want to see a lot of targets for him this week because I think he can have a breakout game that we all expect him to have.
Someone within the wide receiver core is going to.
Maybe it's
You know,
Romeo
I was gonna say Romeo Dobbs did it.
in the playoff
What,
game.
20 months ago, 21 months ago,
We're not doing months. He did it 2 years ago in the playoff game.
21 months.
He's not a child. It's my 20-month-old baby.
Um, uh, Wicks too. I have liked what we've seen of Dontavian
I've
Wicks.
liked him too. Like he's had a good year so far.
Yeah,
Hasn't been fed much, but like he's been good.
the biggest thing that this offense needs, and maybe just their opponent will help them in this regard compared to Cleveland, is just giving Jordan Love time.
Yeah,
And they don't need to go into the game playing scared, scheming up their blocking in such a way that they have to triple team one all pro level defender. Um, but the offensive line has been shaky. Interior line has been incredibly shaky. Zach Tom's injury doesn't help, but and neither does Aaron Banks really. But what is it gonna like? It does feel like we're kind of inching towards this week by week. What is the starting five O line gonna be looking
yeah,
like? And that's where it gets a little dicey. And how can this offense hit all cylinders if the old line doesn't give Love enough time, doesn't give enough push for Jacobs to maneuver. That again, it's boring. It's not sexy. Um, hashtag unfaithful. Uh, but it does start there, and I think like it's gonna be a really big test how they come out of this. Like this could honestly be what we see of the offensive line for quite a while. Like the bye week is coming at a good time, not to look ahead, unlike Matt LaFleur says, but it's coming at a good time to essentially just buy some time for the health of their offensive linemen in particular. But Aaron Banks has been dealing with this issue since start of training camp pretty much. Zach Tom's oblique injury is not going to get much better the more even with you playing more football. So like you have to have contingency plans in place, and you have to trust young guys. You have to trust guys that you're moving all over the line, like a Jordan Morgan, Anthony Belton, in the case of what I said before. So, and obviously Darian Kennard is going to be rotated in there too. It's just like who is going to be this anchor for this Packers O line now? Because I don't know if
yeah,
it's necessarily Elton Jacobs right now, considering that he's dealing with his own position switch.
yeah,
So there's a lot of uncertainty with what's in front of Jordan Love and what's in front of Josh Jacobs that I feel very. I'm not trying to temper my expectations of this offense, but I don't think we'll see them hit the ceiling if this offensive line is going to be kind of in shambles.
mm-hmm. Peter Bukowski had a tweet yesterday that I think kind of sums up my O line thoughts. Last year, the Packers' offensive line was seventh in ESPN's pass block win rate and third in PFF's pass block grade, having replaced their worst player in Josh Myers. He says this group didn't suddenly become a liability; it just needs some continuity, which I think is a very astute thing to expect. I think it's like it's 80% of that Jordan, with the 20% being EJ needs to get comfortable playing center, and they need just Jordan Morgan to do something somewhere if Aaron Banks is going to be hurt. You know what I mean? Like the
It's not.
constant the
It's not
constant
wrong.
shuffling
It's not.
doesn't help. Like,
No.
do you know week one when Chris Brooks blocked the I think it might have been Aiden Hutchinson or whatever edge rusher came in on the stunt, and it was a really great pass off from Banks to Brooks.
Yes.
That comes with reps together, right? You go through training camp, you go through practicing these types of handoffs. They just haven't had a chance to do that with the line yet. And I think like
No.
that's just part of the reason that's been such a liability is because they just EJ was out for 2 weeks during camp. Aaron Banks was
Yeah,
out all
true.
of camp. Uh I think Zach Tom missed a tiny bit of camp, if I'm not mistaken. But like they just had so many injuries, right? Jordan Morgan hasn't played a season's worth of games yet. And so like Anthony Belton's a rookie. Like there's
We
just
saw some of his lowlights during preseason.
right. And there's just a lot of not expectations. There's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? Help me out.
Not expectations,
No,
but
opportunity. Opportunity is not the right word here, but I'll try and reword it. There's a lot of chances for this unit to improve
mm,
with just playing more games, and so you
yeah.
hope that they can just find some health and get through this first half of the season, and then come the second half of the season, they can be a fortified unit that knows how to play with each other.
I think the irony right now is that it's essentially flipped. Where last year, like you mentioned, those the blocking metrics, whether it's the pass rush win weight, on ESPN or PFS. I'm just not gonna say it because I'm scared after saying win weight. Um, but last year the problem was that Jordan Love got hurt and was as mobile. Was his decision making was not to par considering that he was playing with a wide range of maladies at the time. And now it's like Jordan Love is healthy. He's playing pretty good despite, you know, what last week's was. And the O line in front of him is very banged up, is not super experienced. Like that's where it just gets like continuity thing. It does make sense, but that's why you make that move. And I think for after years of like, what does the best five look like? And we'd always take out Josh Myers, and we'd say like, yeah, just put Zach Tom there, put Ellen Jacobs there. That's what it looks like. It's like no, like these are positions that are really hard. First of all, and second of all, when it comes to your center position, like we just think like, yeah, you snap the ball and then you just block. It's like, no, that too is like very easy to take it for granted when you start to see it in action when guys aren't necessarily prepared or shuffling or moving around
Mm-hmm.
and you just see the inexperience or the lack of muscle memory considering that they've been developed to play at a certain position. It's like
Right.
you can't just sometimes it's a square peg meets a round hole.
Right. And like part of that too is just like gotta find Jordan Morgan a spot. He played half his snaps at two different positions last week, right tackle and left guard. It's like it's hard to ask a guy to do that, especially a guy as young as inexperienced as he is, I should say. Um,
I could screw him up.
yeah, it arguably might have. Um, this is a stat from I just saw from Peter Bukowski, which is crazy. Going back to the Cowboys defense, um, the Cowboys are allowing 9.4 yards per dropback this season, comfortably the worst in the league. The modern record for yards per attempt, which is slightly different for a QB, is 2000 Kurt Warner at 9.9. He said, in other words, the Cowboys defense turns opponents into the greatest show on turf. And then he quote tweeted his own tweet that said, "The Aaron
That's
Rodgers
the most
2011,
Peter Bukowski thing
yeah."
I've ever seen in my life.
He said, he quote tweeted his own tweet and said, "The Aaron Rodgers 2011 season is still the best QB play I've ever seen. Aaron Rodgers averaged 9.2 yards per attempt on that." And the Cowboys pass defense is allowing a higher number than that. So the year that Aaron Rodgers won MVP and they went 15-1, quarterbacks going against the Cowboys defense are playing better than Aaron Rodgers.
Russell Wilson
Purely
in
in
2025.
purely in yards per attempt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this offense just needs to have a week. Like the gif from episode 8, I think, of Kylo Ren screaming more uh, when he's doing something horrific to a planet, probably. I forget the context of it, but
I think it's something like Emperor Palpatine somehow returned or
yeah,
whatever.
whatever it was. Uh, that's what I am going to be like when it comes to points on Sunday night. Like I want Jerry Jones to rub his eyes until he's blind that the game is going so poorly for the Cowboys, obviously.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Uh should we move on to the offer to the defense and the Cowboys offense?
Yes.
Again, another week where this defense should just be able to get home. I think Dak has been sacked a decent amount of times this season already. He wasn't sacked in week 1, but he was sacked 3 times in week 2 against the Giants, which have a good front, and sacked twice against the Cowboys or the Bears, who don't have that good of a front. But like like you had mentioned up top, the Cowboys offensive line isn't the most healthy right now, and they it's not good for him. Tyler Booker is doubtful apparently. Um, oh no, I think Tyler Booker is their rookie this year. Tyler Guyton was their rookie last
Yes,
year.
there's two, and he Guidance out, correct?
No, not
Oh, I
according
thought
to
he was hurt at one
ESPN's
point.
not according to ESPN's depth chart.
Mm,
There's actually 3 Tylers. They have a guard, Tyler Smith.
God.
Um, but like it's just it's not a good unit. It's not like Cowboys offensive lines of yesteryear. And they've blocked well for Javonte Williams this year. Javonte Williams having a pretty decent year coming over from Denver and winning that spot in camp over Miles Sanders and Jaden Blue. And so you would expect them to set the tone running the ball like they have the last few weeks. If I'm not mistaken, I think Javonte has scored each week he's played this year. Let me double check here. He didn't score against the Bears, but he had um, 2 touchdowns and 54 yards, 64 yards from scrimmage against Philly. He had 120 total scrimmage yards and a touchdown against the Giants, and then 76 yards on 10 carries against the Bears, which is pretty good. So, like I said, Javonte Williams still having a good year. I think what they really need to do is I don't want to say sell out against the run, but their receivers are right now are currently George Pickens, it's not Justin Tolbert. It's I forget what his
Jaden
Jalen
Tolbert.
Tolbert
Jalen.
and Jake Ferguson are kind of who they're trotting out there for, and Cavante Turpin for pass catchers. Not an elite group of pass catchers. Like Pickens is a very physical, handsy receiver, which I think really plays well into how Keyshawn plays too. Like Keyshawn's not afraid to get up on your chest and bump you. And so I think that'll be a fun matchup to watch those two go at it. And so if they can sell out against the run and let these corners do their thing, let the secondary do their thing against not so good talent, I think like the biggest thing I'm not like quote unquote worried about is like Jake Ferguson just settling in the zone and dink and dunking their way down the field. But Dak loves to throw deep balls. George Pickens loves to catch deep balls, so I think they're going to take quite a few shots down the field this game just to try and take the top off. But that's where Evan Williams and Xavier McKinney can come into play, where they can just ball hawk their way um, to hopefully a big day on defense.
Per NFL's next gen stats. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Packers have allowed the lowest explosive play rate in the NFL at 5.3%. It would be the lowest mark for any defense through the first 3 weeks since they started tracking it in 2016.
Wow.
So yeah, um, last week notwithstanding, and really it was only 2 drives that the defense had to clean up the offense's mess. This defense is still very good. It's still all world beating level defense. I'm it's kind of flipped where how we were talking about the Browns last week where how lopsided it is. The Cowboys offense is even with CeeDee Lamb being hurt. they have enough there that makes it doesn't give you pause, but to be like it's not like they have some level of talent and some weapons that they can turn to that you have to game plan towards. Yeah, I mean, like it's not just walking in and see if what the Browns are doing last week, and it's still remarkable that they won that game. I cannot believe that they won that game. Anyway, but I just think this defense is so good. It's so good. And then there's
It
the Micah of
is.
it all, where obviously he's gonna be cameras all gonna be following him. They're probably gonna have like a Micah cam that you can watch on like Peacock. I'm guessing. I'm joking, but not really. They would have done that once upon a time.
Listen, if
But
I was a Peacock subscriber, I'd watch the Micah Cam. That sounds like a great time.
it's a good idea, right?
Peacock should hire
Um,
you. You're an ideas guy.
Bing, bing, bing. You know what I mean?
Get on with your point.
This defense is really good.
It is.
It's really good. It's why, even as much as I'm have certainly tempered my expectations after
I,
terrible
I
loss.
like how we were like, we're done talking about Cleveland, and then we've talked about
I
Cleveland.
can't. You can't. You can't. You cannot. It is. It's a scarlet letter that you have to wear. You lost to the Browns. You
Yeah.
lost to the Browns. The Packers
Yeah.
have to wear that.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Edrin Cooper. I feel like we just name guys now. Just like, yeah, Micah Parsons, Edrin Cooper, David McKinney. But like this defense is so good, and like you said, like they're not allowing explosive plays.
Quay.
Like Quay's having a good year.
Quay's doing
they're
good.
gonna hopefully sign him to an extension at the end of the season, or like a new contract, or however you want to call it. But yeah, they're playing really well, and if they can go back to playing how they played the first 2 weeks, this game should be a breeze.
If
Even
they
even
play,
how they played last week against
I was
Cleveland.
gonna say, if they play like how they did last week, that should be fine. It
Yeah.
should be fine.
However, they need to get home more. They should have had
They're
Flacco.
getting,
No, no.
yeah.
They should have had given Flacco like nightmares for the rest of his life. He's 40 years old, and I think I could run a faster 40 than him.
I've actually seen you run a 40 essentially on the streets of Oshkosh, so I know that for a fact that you can probably
That's
do
what I'm
that.
saying.
He's also really tall, so his speed is not gonna last that long
He's like 3 inches taller than me. He's not really tall.
for a quarterback. For someone in his 40s, you're not in your 40s.
Thank God. Dust to dust, am I right?
That's what the Packers should have done.
That's what I'm saying.
Turn him to dust.
But like Dak too. Like Dak is 34, I think. Like
Yeah, he's been around a lot.
he's not old, but I wouldn't call him spry.
This is his
He's
12th
he's
year
he's 30.
starting.
He's 32. Oh my God. It's been 12. Holy moly. I
I actually maybe selling him short on a year.
I would have guessed like 9.
No.
That is insane.
Wait, when did he? No, I'm definitely wrong. I am
Okay.
definitely wrong.
He was drafted in the 4th round of 2016. This is his 9th year in the NFL.
There we go.
I
Still, he's been starting 10 years. This is his 10th NFL season.
you saying that he had been in the league for 12 years. I was like, he's 32. He got drafted at fucking 19. I was like, there's no way he's a 4th round pick.
He had the I am 12.
I am 12.
I am 12.
Um,
Um,
but like the same
losing
thing, like
back.
they should get after Dak too. And I'm not like this is gonna sound like I'm coming after Lucas Van Ness. I'm not like Lucas Van Ness. Like let's have a good week and have at. He was like the second highest graded Packer last week against Cleveland. Like he is having a really good season. I want that just to continue, and maybe he has like a breakout game, get a couple of sacks under his belt, and continues to leverage Micah Parsons to some really great success. I am a bit worried about the interior. Like I think if there is some success, that this Cowboys offense can have that can be running up the middle. Because if Devontae Wyatt doesn't play and if Carl Brooks doesn't play, that leaves Nazir Stackhouse and Colby Wooden to shore up the inside, which isn't like the most encouraging. Like I think Colby Wooden is good. I think Nazir Stackhouse is fine, but he's an undrafted free agent. He's not going to be expected to take on starters and really perform at a high level. Like Devontae Wyatt and Carl Brooks have been really good this season, and them being healthy and being able to plug gaps in the middle of the line is important. Because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Quinshawn Judkins had a huge week last week outside or inside the tackles. I'm actually curious.
That is a good question.
Um, man, I wish you told me players and not. You gotta not filibuster, but
Filibuster. I'll
yeah.
pull a Cory Booker. Um,
I'll pull a Corey Booker.
no, I going back to like their pass rush is still really good. We're gonna be on full tilt of if they aren't sacking to this degree, or like what the Lions are doing to Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
Like someone like Lamar Jackson, he was sacked, I think, what, 5 times last week,
I think so.
if not more.
Yeah,
In Monday Night Football, do you have your stat?
I do it myself. Quinshawn Judkins between the tackles had 38 plus 15 is 53. I'm pretty sure. Plus 13 is 766.
66.
So he had.
Did you say that with a lisp?
I did
65th.
56th. Oh, plus another 6, so 72. He had the majority of his yards inside. So I was wrong there. I think that big run that he had was off the left guard. I thought it was off the left tackle, which is like the carry he had for 38 yards. I thought that was off the left tackle, not through the line. So, but between the center and the guards, he had 9 rushes for 28 yards. And so, if he can, if they're not playing, if Devontae Wyatt and Carl Brooks aren't playing, I hope that Colby Wooden and Nazir Sakos can kind of plug those holes that way, or at least Quay and Edge help a lot there as well.
Yeah.
That's the hope because, like I said, Javonte Williams is having a good year against like expectations. Like this running back room was for sure the weak link of this offense coming into the year, and they've been pretty good. Like I think Miles Sanders had a touchdown against the Bears last week. Jaden Blue hasn't played, but between Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders, I think Miles Sanders was playing pretty well in against the Eagles before he fumbled, and that was kind of what cost him the game, or part of what cost him the game. But it's better than you think. Like they're not sexy names. Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders aren't, especially Javonte Williams post ACL, post Denver tenure, but they've been good this year. I'm not just saying that as Javonte Williams fantasy owner.
But it's true. It's if you he was a talented running back and injuries got in the way, and sometimes that can be a detriment, and sometimes people are able to get it back. Like I don't know. It's gonna be a weird game because of all the sideshow elements of it, of the Parsons Jerry Jones angle that will surely be a talking point throughout the game. There's also just like how last week was. Like I don't know. I'm expectations for the defense are still really high. I do think when how can they keep this like what is said about the explosive play rate, or like allowing
Mm-hmm.
the fewest yards per play. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
playing at that elite level.
Mm-hmm.
Can how much can they sustain that without hitting a dip? Because if we're kind of playing the game, there's probably gonna be 2 or 3 weeks this year where they it's like that wasn't up to their standard.
Yeah, you can't expect a defense to play elite defense for 17 games and 18, not 18, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have expected. I don't expect the Cowboys to kind of have the secret sauce to get past Jeff Hafley. Um, but I also wouldn't have expected the Cleveland Browns to win that game last week. Sorry. That's it's football. That's where the randomness and kind of you get a little high on your own supply, and all of a sudden it knocks you down a peg, and you have to kind of like make sure you're still preparing for each week the same way that you had been when things were working at a high level. And
Mm-hmm.
this defense, it's not impenetrable per se. Like they will have they we know that they have like not I'm trying to word this in a way that makes sense. They give so much slack to the offense, but that has to be returned. And
Right.
last week was when it was not.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't bank on them being able to limit or just completely muzzle offenses.
You have right, like to build off your point of the slack from the offense. You can only do so much as a defense. You can't be expected to hold teams under 20 points every week, under 15 points every week, right? And so
Yeah.
there's going to be weeks where that doesn't happen, where the offense needs to do their part, and that that hopefully is continued this week.
I don't mean to be. I feel I was more optimistic going into this recording than I
Then we
certainly
sound.
sound.
I'm still optimistic. I think it's just like we are humbled after that Browns loss.
Yeah, you don't get over that.
No.
No.
So, with that being said, should we give some players to watch and some score predictions?
Let's watch some players and
As I
predict scores.
as I said, my Packers Matthew Golden. Need a big week from him or any receiver, but I expect it to be Matthew Golden to get behind this secondary, and from there, kind of start this new era of hopefully he's wide receiver one, as much as we don't want to label that, but he can kind of show the talent he has and kind of just become that wide receiver where we saw in the preseason, we saw during training camp.
I'm gonna go on the other side. You actually kind of. I'm gonna thank you for sparking this idea.
You're welcome.
I think this is gonna be a big Xavier McKinney game.
Ooh.
I think you mentioning that Dak is going to probably test out the limits of how far they can take this offense. I think the only reason why I would say the defense could completely take out the Cowboys offense is without a CeeDee Lamb. I know Jake Ferguson is essentially he has the second most targets in the NFL and catches. Um, I still think Dak is going to probably test deep, and I think the Packers are going to be very prepared for that. He's going to make a mistake. We have, I think we've seen multiple games against the Packers where Dak Prescott makes a read that isn't there or misreads where a guy is, and it falls right in the hands of a Packers defender. Xavier Kinney is the best probably bet to get that, but like he's going to try to take go over the top of the defense, and I think the Packers and Xavier McKinney is going to sniff it out pretty quickly. And you just don't have an experienced wideout like CeeDee Lamb out there.
Right.
You're relying on guys like Tolbert, Turpin, George Pickens, who
He's good. He's definitely wide
is
receiver too.
but he's trick or treat
Right.
in terms of like
He's not
he
he's not trick or treat. He's boomer bust.
that's trick or treat.
That's it's not.
That's trick or treat. You put your hand in there, you get a Snickers. The next time you got a razor blade. You never know.
What are you, Fox News?
That's, that's what they tell me.
That's
I
what,
don't
that's
know.
what they tell me.
Yeah.
So, all right, score predictions. Let you go first.
I do think this is going to be a game. I'll go Packers 27, Cowboys 17.
I'm gonna go Packers 30, Cowboys 20.
10-point deficits each.
Yep, that's right. So, all right, folks, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Talk of the Tundra on YouTube. We will be live there Sunday night after the game, talking about hopefully what does the Packers win to get back on track. Um, Jordan, you gotta stop doing that towards the camera.
Sorry.
Uh, go Go check out all things Packers over or all things Bucks over on the Bucks feed with Ty and Rohan on Eurostep. Um, thank you all for listening. Like I said, we'll be back Sunday night live on YouTube and then in podcast feeds Monday morning. Um, we'll talk to you then, Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you.